Hello there, Stevos, and welcome back to another episode of Steve's Movie Wrap-Up right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. Let's have a look and find out what movies I've been watching and reviewing this week. But first though, I would like to apologise. This video has come out a bit later than I originally intended it to be. But obviously I'm glad that I've managed to get this video out for you guys right now, okay? So apologies for the delay in this episode, but the video is out for you guys to see, which is the main thing. So without further ado, let's have a look and see what movies I've been watching and reviewing this week. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 92, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie I'll be reviewing in this episode is What Happens Later. So first up, it is What Happens Later, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. I have had What Happens Later on the watch list via Letterboxd since 2023. Probably just before this film was released, and there are more films on the watch list that I will be likely reviewing over the coming weeks and months that I have watched for the first time that were released in 2023 or over the last couple of years. But now that I have watched What Happens Later, what did I think of this one? Well, this appeared to be leaving soon on the streaming service Netflix in the UK, and I did keep meaning to watch this on Now TV in the UK when it was on that streaming service a while back. However, given that I saw this was leaving Netflix in the UK on April 17th, 2026, it made me pluck up the courage to watch this film. The film, What Happens Later, does star Meg Ryan and also stars David Duchovny, who play the characters of Willa and Bill respectively. Willa and Bill are ex-partners who happen to stumble upon each other in an airport. When the airport is snowed in, they are stranded, which means they have to spend the night together, and they realise that whilst catching up with each other and their lives, what they have done since they broke up and left each other's lives, they realise that they are still madly in love with each other, but at the same time annoyed with one another as well. I will say that the acting in this from Meg Ryan and David Duchovny is great. The chemistry between the characters is there. However, though, what I will say is that I felt like this movie was going on and on forever. It felt at times I was watching a 3-hour long film, when in actual fact this film did come with a running time clocking in of 1 hour and 44 minutes long. It might just be because of the fact that this film is set in a single location throughout. Is What Happens Later a film I could see me watching again? I think for me, well, yes, I did appreciate this film for what it was, and I am glad I have finally checked this one off the watch list. I think for me, this is one of those movies that is sadly a watch once and once only for me. But would I recommend watching this movie? If you are a fan of films that are set in a single location, or if you are a fan of rom-coms in general, then I would say check this film out, as you may get some enjoyment out of this, or appreciate this film for what it is worth. There are some rather emotional and hard-hitting moments that are discussed throughout this movie as well. But What Happens Later is available to buy and rent now on digital platforms. The Inventor. Next up this week, it's The Inventor, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. The Inventor is another movie that I have finally watched, as it has been on my Letterboxd watch list since either late 2023 or sometime in 2024. And like with What Happens Later, I was planning to see this film via Now TV in the UK. Then it came away from that streaming service, and now it is currently on Netflix here in the UK. However though, just like What Happens Later, it does have a leaving soon sticker on the poster, with the leaving date being around the 7th of May 2026. So if you are planning to check this one out on Netflix in the UK, then you do have a very limited time to watch this one. But what did I think of The Inventor? Well, This is one of those movies that was made from an indie studio, one of those lesser known, more independent movie studios, and I will say that the animation in this was rather decent and well balanced, in my opinion. I love the fact that the animation we get in here is partial 2D animation and also stop motion animation as well. So think of Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run and Shaun the Sheep when I mention stop motion animation. But I think the 2D animation does blend rather well and is woven brilliantly into this story, which is great. We do have some talented British cast members who do lend their voices for this film in the form of Stephen Fry, Matt Berry, who by the way does have a brilliant voice and should appear in a lot more animated movies going forward, especially a distinctive voice as Matt Berry's. And you also have Daisy Ridley, who also lends her voice for this film as well. If you are looking for an informative, educative and creative animated family-friendly movie that does also include some musical numbers here and there throughout the running time, which by the way does clock in at 1 hour and 39 minutes, then I do highly recommend worth checking this one out. It isn't just the animation that I do also adore from this film, because even the backgrounds and the set designs, along with every detail that went into those set designs for the stop motion scenes with these characters, I really do appreciate it all. Is The Inventor a film I would see myself checking out or revisiting, rewatching again sometime in the future? I would be happy to check this one out again sometime in the future for sure. But The Inventor is currently streaming on Netflix in the UK until May the 7th, 2026. Balls Up. Next up, it's a brand new movie from this week on streaming, and that is in the form of Balls Up, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. So Balls Up is a straight-to-streaming film that was released on Amazon Prime Video around the world. Film does star Mark Wahlberg, Paul Walter Hauser and Sacha Baron Cohen. So what did I think of Balls Up? Well, in the year 2026, doing a movie review, discussing a film I have watched. Never in my life did I ever think I would be discussing penises and condoms. But hey, that is part of this film, as friends and work colleagues Brad and Elijah head to Brazil to watch the World Cup final against Brazil and Argentina. Now, Elijah is the guy who designed a new condom for men to wear during sex, which is a condom that doesn't just cover the penis, but also covers the balls as well. And what does every person say when they see the design of this condom? Why is this already not a thing? Look, let's be real here. Of course, there is a lot of penis and balls jokes, understandably more so at the start of the film, but I do think that that does dub down later on in the film. But when a rival condom company gets the advert at the World Cup final than the condom company that Brad and Elijah work for, Elijah's jealousy gets the better of him and he ends up chasing a mascot along the football pitch during the World Cup final, which ultimately causes anger from the fans of Brazil, who immediately start to hate Brad and Elijah for ruining the World Cup final. The film is set in summer 2025, when of course the Brazil World Cup did take place. While I did somewhat have a few chuckles in this film, I can't really see me watching this one again, to be honest. I will say though, Brad and Elijah covering the song Somebody I Used to Know by Gautier was rather funny and comedic as well. And I also enjoyed the scene with Sacha Baron Cohen's character as well, especially with the way he says, "Yes." Balls Up does come with a running time clocking in at 1 hour and 47 minutes, and as mentioned, for me, this is going to be a film I watch once and once only. However though, I would still recommend giving this film a watch if you are looking for a new comedy film to watch, because even if you do decide to watch this film for yourself, the once only, you may get some enjoyment out of this one. But Balls Up is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video worldwide. Rental Family. Next up this week is Rental Family, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. Hikari, who directed the first season of Beef over on streaming service Netflix, is back, this time directing a feature-length film that stars Brendan Fraser, which is titled Rental Family. So, what did I think of Rental Family? Rental Family was released earlier this year in UK cinemas. It was released in late 2025 in US cinemas, so we didn't get this film the same time as the US, which is rather bizarre given the fact that Searchlight Pictures distributed this film, which is part of Disney. But unfortunately though, I never caught this film in cinemas. However, I wasn't expecting to see this on Disney Plus for a little while longer, given the fact that it has not too long reached digital platforms in the UK. I will say that I do love and appreciate the scenery we get in the film, as the movie is set in Tokyo, Japan. For the most part of the film, we have a lot of foreign subtitled language used throughout the film, including a lot of dialogue from Fraser's character, but he does speak English in some scenes throughout the movie, along with other characters too. I will say that I do appreciate the film, and it is a little heartwarming and a little bit wholesome to watch. And while I do appreciate this film for what it is worth, but however, I feel as though this is going to be a film I will probably watch once and once only. Rental Family does come with a running time that clocks in at 1 hour and 50 minutes. Do I recommend watching Rental Family? Well, if you are into drama-based movies, then I would say check this one out for sure. However, as mentioned, for me, I will probably only see this the once and once only. But Rental Family is streaming now on Disney Plus, and it is also available to buy and rent on digital platforms now. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. And the final film that I have watched this week is Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which I gave 4 stars over on Letterboxd. So, time for me to review a film that wasn't even on my Letterboxd watch list at all, which is surprising because I am so sure I did have it on the watch list beforehand. When I went to log it, it said it wasn't on the watch list, but Lee Cronin is the director behind this film. The film in question is The Mummy, not to be confused with the same title that stars Brendan Fraser. This one didn't star Brendan Fraser and also leans a lot more into the horror aspect. So what did I think of The Mummy? The running time does clock in at around 2 hours and 20 minutes, so expect this one to be a long horror movie. There are some scenes in here though that do feel like they do drag on a little bit, and I wish they had shaved down some of those scenes, which would have made this film a little bit shorter. But that being said, this film does remind me of a more recent film that I love and enjoy watching, which, by the way, I definitely will revisit again sometime soon. The movie I am talking about is Evil Dead, more specifically Evil Dead Rise, which Lee Cronin actually did direct a few years ago. It does feel like it has picked up some of the flavours from Evil Dead and mixed it into this film, which isn't a bad thing at all, by the way, because I really did dig this a lot. There is some good use of body horror, some good use of horror imagery, and also some really gruesome and terrifying scenes that will probably stay with you for a very long time. But for me, Lee Cronin's The Mummy is a film I can definitely see me going back and rewatching again later this year, because for me, despite the long running time, but this film was brilliant. It does, throughout the running time, ask the question, what happened to Katie? Katie is a girl who was kidnapped and for about 8 years held captive inside a sarcophagus, which is 3,000 years old. However, there is a rule. Whatever happens, Katie must never escape or leave the sarcophagus. Does it happen though? Well, this is a horror after all, and while I won't give anything away here, but you probably know the answer to the question. Do I recommend watching Lee Cronin's The Mummy to the rest of the horror community? For sure I do, because if you did enjoy Evil Dead Rise, then you will definitely enjoy this film. I am now waiting for a sequel to be announced, and I would really laugh if it is titled The Mummy Returns. And again, if so, Brendan Fraser will possibly not star in that film either. But Lee Cronin's The Mummy is now showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide. And that is it for this week's episode of Steve's Movie Wrap Up right here on my YouTube channel, Steve Official. Again, apologies for the delay in this video. A lot's been going on, but I'm going to get this video out to you guys as soon as I possibly can. A massive thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what you guys have been watching over this past week, regardless whether it's on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Ultra, in cinemas or even on streaming. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I love hearing from you guys and I really do appreciate your support, regardless whether you're just watching this video or you're watching this video and commenting in the comment section down below. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well down below to become a Steve-O. I will be back again on Sunday this weekend, which will be Sunday the 26th of April 2026 at 6 PM UK time for your next episode of Steve's Movie Wrap Up right here on my YouTube channel, Steve Official. But until then though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.